Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mike Kollin at MikeKollin.com. Okay, so let's talk about science. Let's talk about physics. Let's talk about math, and let's talk about dimensions and how all of this proves spirituality. Did you know that the spiritual teaching, the energy healing of Hawaii, it's called Huna? Did you know that it was purposely hidden in the hula dance? The great teaching is in every spiritual teaching. It's in Huna, it's in the teaching of the Maori people of New Zealand. It's in the teaching of the Aborigine people. It's in the Pacific Islanders, the Hawaiians, etc. It's everywhere. It's also in the Bible. I'm actually throwing everything out there up front right now so I can come back and remember what this whole video is about so I can put the pieces together. Now I'm going to throw something out front what I learned in Hawaii. So these teachings, there was a great teaching on the planet a long time ago. And what happened was there was an evil energy, an evil spirit that began to come to the planet, and it began to shut all of that down. Okay, so what they did was they took this teaching and they hid it in different cultures and different religions and different everything so it could get dispersed throughout the earth so it would never be lost. Now you may ask, well, why do they have to hide it? Because this evil teaching was trying to destroy it and keep people from learning it and reteaching it. So they sent it out to all the different parts of the earth. See, one of the great things that they taught you was not to learn from any other source. Now when I say great teachings, I don't really mean great in a good way. I mean the great lie. See, the battle isn't between different religions, it's between truth and evil, and really what it is, it's between the limited mind versus the unlimited mind. Okay, the music will go down now. Now, there's a basic teaching you have to start to begin to see. Now, the reason why I know all this stuff is because I studied really hard from second grade all the way through college, NLP trainings, hypnosis trainings. I expanded my mind when I was in psychology class, psychology class, but even science class in middle school, high school, college. They teach you this stuff. They put it in there right in front of your brain, but it's like if you only learn it their way, you're only going to see it from one perspective. The idea is to begin to open your mind to see it from different perspectives, from different angles, from different viewpoints, so you can get a bigger picture of how the pieces fit together. That's what they don't teach you. They don't want you to see that. See, they'll teach it to you, but they only want you to understand it from the way they want you, which is from the limited mind, which is the logical left brain mind. It's very linear, meaning it goes down a line. It's extremely narrow, and you don't see it from other perspectives. You see it from point A to point B in that direction, and that's it. There's no other perspective. These are the people who will argue to death over the stupidest things. A lot of times people are agreeing, they're just seeing it from a different perspective. And because they don't have the ability to shift to the other side to see it from that perspective, looking back at where they were, they think they're arguing and disagreeing when actually they are agreeing, but they're on two opposite sides of the fence. And because of not being able to shift, they think, well, you're wrong and I'm right. And that's another perspective. The either or mentality is what is causing all the pain on the planet. Because it's either A or B and there's no other possibility. And not only that, but you have to decide, well, am I on side A or side B? And once you choose, you have to stick there, you have to stay there, and you got to battle it out. I'm right and you're wrong for the rest of your life. Not even realizing, not only were you wrong, you completely missed the boat. That either or mentality limits everything. So for those of you who are new to this channel, either or mentality is when you're far in the left brain. It sees things as if there's a rectangle and then you drew a line down the middle. So you're looking, like it's out in front of you. So it's either so when you draw a line down the middle of the rectangle, now you have two squares. I'm not sure if you remember this from math class and geometry, etc. So it causes your brain to view everything, to filter it, to process it through. It's either the left A or the right B, and you pick one side and you stick there for the rest of your life. It is extremely limited. The right brain is about options and possibilities. How many options and possibilities? All the grains of sand on the entire planet, all the stars, the trillions and billions and gajillion stars in the universe. That's how many options and possibilities. There's always more options. There's always more possibilities. Those kind of people are the ones that come up with solutions. The people that it's either A or B, they only have two options, which is really not an option. In NLP, they taught us that until you get to 5 options, you're only beginning to get options. So if you only have 3 or 4 options, you really don't have options. You really need to get at least 5 or more options before you can start seeing things from different perspectives. See, the more options, the more you can see it, the more you can find the solutions faster, easier, and better. So this either-or mentality has been used against you to put you in this box mentality. Well, I'm either Catholic or I'm Christian. I'm either Mormon or I'm Jewish. It's like it divides everybody. Now, obviously, they've done this on purpose so they, whoever the hell they are, can have all the power. It causes you to look at people based on their religion, their race, their culture, their skin color, their language, or whatever. So one group is taught we're right because we're Catholic and what we believe is A, B, C, and D, and therefore we're the superior race. No, we're Jewish. We're the chosen one, and we're the blah, 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 blah. And it's like, and everyone is like, well, I'm better than you because, well, I'm Mormon. Oh, because I'm freaking, Seventh-day Adventist. And all that does is it divides people and it holds us all down. I'm the breaker of the wheel. I'm the breaker of chains. Okay, so let's start out here. There is a book, I can't remember it, but it was a book that was written about the Bible, the book of Genesis, and it was trying to say, well, those were actually spaceships that came down, and I cannot remember the name of that book. I'm going to try to remember to get back to that and then the earlier stuff I put out already. But let's start with some science, something that I started to learn in 5th grade science. I went to school for a few years in Wisconsin when I was a kid. They were much more advanced than California schools, so we started learning about molecules and atoms and electrons and looking under the microscope, and we went to the pond and we got some water and we put it through underneath the 2 glass slides and put it under the microscope. So we started learning way back then. Then we repeated this again in 8th grade and 9th grade science and 10th grade and then again in college, etc., etc. Now I'm going to pre-frame this. I'm going to tell you what I'm talking about and then go through it and make it clear. So what they did was they said, okay, well on this level you have this. Let's say molecules, atoms, electrons. And then on this level you have something exactly the same, but it's a different level. Therefore you have to pick one. So I'm picking the first one, this is right and the other one's wrong. Well, I'm going to pick the second level and everything on the first level is wrong. It's either A or B. And this has caused people to divide things that were never meant to be divided, minused, or separated. This was not a separation, this was a growth. It's like a tree. Yeah, you start out with a seed. The seed starts to grow roots, and then eventually a little tiny stem comes out in a little green leaf, and it starts to grow up. It's not like, oh well, no, it's not real, but because it was a seed before, therefore it's, I don't know what this is, it doesn't count, it doesn't. No, this is called growth, and that's what I'm leading up to. Everything is a symbol and or symbolic of everything else. It's not like one's right and the other one's wrong. No, this is proving that is right and that is proving that this is right. But once they see, look, our schools are purposely taught to condition into you from kindergarten, preschool, either this or that, rectangle, put a line down the middle. It's either A or it's B. It's either box A on the left or box B on the right. It's either or. So you begin to divide everything. Their goal is to get you to do this on your own. My goal, this is all I'm doing. I do not give a shit what your religion is. I don't care what your gender is. I don't care what your race is. I don't care what you believe. It doesn't matter. All I'm trying to do is wake you up. Now, what specifically does that mean? I bet you've never heard anyone say that in that way, have you? What it specifically means is I'm trying to get you out of that brainwashed conditioning, that limitation of either or, either or, either or, either this or it's that. It's either A or it's B. It's either I'm right or you're right, and we can't both be right, so you must be wrong. Now here's the deal. I'm not saying you can never use that, because when it comes to microscopes, that is a very, very good way to look at things, because you want to clear out the environment 99.6% purity, so you can go, okay, so we have this vitamin C in here. What happens if we add a bacteria? What happens if we add a zinc to it? What is the interaction? Because if you've got bacteria and dirt and other vitamins and other minerals and other molecules, you don't know what's affecting what. So when it comes down to something like that, okay, fine. And that's only one option of the way you can process things and or filter things. What I'm suggesting is that most people are stuck there and they don't even know it, because that's all they've known since they were a little child. Math class, history class, tests, everything you do year after year, semester after semester, class after class is teaching your brain that's right or wrong, right or wrong, right or wrong. And that is not the way you're supposed to go through life at all. That's like one very limited way of looking at things, only under very specific circumstances. For the majority of time, literally 99% of the time, you should not be looking through that very narrow filter. So what I specifically mean when I say I want to snap you out of being asleep and I want to wake you up, what I specifically mean is smashing that model, smashing that mold of either or mentality, to take that out and pull it out of your brain, pull it out of your frontal lobes, so you can begin to see things from other perspectives. To literally, neurologically and physically see, hear, feel, smell, and taste things from a much more expanded way. I mean, visually expanded, auditorily expanded, in a full circle, 365 degrees around you, that expands out to a mile, to 2 miles, to 5 miles, to hear things 2 miles away, to see things 20 miles away, all the way around you. To expand your emotional feelings to at least a mile around you, so you can feel people moving a half a mile to the right and a half a mile to the left, 3/4 of the mile to the left, 3/4 of the mile to the right, a mile to the right, to front, to back. Alright, so let's use this model. Atoms, electrons, and I forgot the other one, damn it. Hold on. Alright, molecules, atoms, electrons, particles, etc., etc. This exact same model is repeated on every level all the way out. So let's go to the basics. Essentially, you have a molecule, and then going around that you have an electron. So molecules, then an atom, okay? So you've got these electrons spinning around, etc., right? Well, this goes to the next level bigger, the next level bigger, the next level bigger, and then it goes all the way down to the particles. So now it goes a little bit smaller, okay? So this repeats itself on every level. Now I want to put this bit of information in first before I jump to that. So another thing that a lot of people don't know is that between the molecule and the electron, etc., there is 99.999 pure space. In other words, when we're looking at atoms and electrons and molecules and all that stuff, it's nothing but pure space. They're so finite, so tiny, that even though this electron's going around it, it's nothing but space. There's very, very little tiny bit of a concentrated form of energy. It is so small that the electron, the only reason why that they knew the electron existed back in, say, the 1800s or early 1900s or whenever it was, is because it left a trace behind it, kind of like a car when it went down the road, it left a little smoke trail. Well, it kind of left like a trace like that behind it. So they saw that, like, okay, so there's got to be something spinning around the molecule. Well, we'll call that an electron. I'm leading up to a bigger picture here, by the way. So if I remember right, it wasn't until around this mid-70s or something like that they invented a much more powerful microscope, magnification, and then they could finally see the actual electron going around the molecule or going around the atoms or however that works, okay? Now, we could sit there and go, oh, so that's it? That's science? That's going to be our religion? There's no other possibility? It's either A or it's B? Well, we're picking A, and that's it, and we're going to stay there for the rest of all eternity. We learned one thing that happens to be true, and we're going to stop. Because anything else outside of that box is absolute insano, Captain Crazy. So if you come along and you learn something else, well, we're just going to say that you're wrong and you're going to hell and you're nuts and you're crazy and you're weird. So when I say it goes from all the way down to the molecular atomic level, the particle level, all the way out, guess what? It does. And I'm going to take a huge leap here, skipping all the other levels in between. We're going big picture. Have you heard of the sun? Have you heard of these things called planets? How about moons? Atoms, electrons, molecules, atoms, electrons, etc., particles. Do you realize that the Earth, the Moon, the Sun, all the way out up to other galaxies and dimensions and all this stuff, do you realize it is literally the exact copy of atoms, molecules, electrons, particles, and all that stuff? It's the exact same thing. Are you ready to have your mind blown? Did you know that the space between the Earth and the Moon is something like 250,000 miles up to almost 300,000 miles, depending on where the Moon is around the Earth in its orbit? Okay, I just Googled it, so here's what it's saying. It may mean exactly today because it does shift a little bit. So it's at 238,900 miles away from Earth, and I do know it shifts a little bit from that. Now, Earth is a very dense place. Molecules are very dense. The Moon is dense. The Sun is fairly dense. Now, here's my point. So the Moon is 238,900 miles away from the Earth. See, we look at these models, it's so our brain could actually understand it, because if it did it even on the scale correctly, you wouldn't be able to see the model. So here's my point. So the sun is 91.959 million miles away. But the model they show us since we're children is it's really close together, a couple inches away. Now let's say they're trying to make it to scale. Well, they can't actually make it to scale because the first planet from the sun would probably be about 20 miles away, and you'd have to go all the way down to see that. And then the moon from that planet is probably 7 miles away. And the next planet is probably 50 million miles away, or whatever. What's my point? When you go into outer space, there is literally, and I mean especially inside our very own solar system, it is 99.9999996% pure space. Sounds like molecules, atoms, electrons. It's the same pattern repeating itself on different levels. Well, yeah, but Mike, I'm a Christian, Catholic, scientist, religionist. Therefore, I only believe in molecules, atoms, and electrons. I don't believe in space. I don't believe there's a sun. I don't believe there's an earth. And anyone who does, well, they're obviously going to hell. I'm right, they're wrong. I'm right, they're wrong. So there's a book called The Chariot of the Gods. Okay. Now this book was about I believe it was about the book of Enoch. Let me see if I can find it. I had it here a second ago. So I'm going to just read. It says it involves the hypothesis that the technologies and religions of many ancient civilizations were given to them by ancient astronauts who were welcomed as gods. Well, that might be a possibility. So here's another possibility. It's possible that people on different dimensions. Oh, well, let's talk about dimensions first. And I shouldn't use the word people. I really should use the word beings, because I don't know what we turn into when we get to the next levels, or what exactly that we are. Maybe we're just a spirit on the other level, or other levels. So in the spirit world, or when you talk to people that are into spirituality, we talk about different dimensions, okay? The main ones you hear now are like two-dimensional people, which are very left brain. 3 dimensions is the right brain. And really the planet we live on, the solar system, the universe that we live in, is three-dimensional. Okay? All that means is, it's okay, we're going back to basic science class. Not basic, but when you get up to, I don't know if it was in algebra or if we did this in geometry, probably both. So 1 dimension is like a dot, okay? Or maybe call it a line. 2 dimensions is it's a line and then you turn right or left. Now you've got length and width. 3 dimensions is length, width, and now you go up to height. Now you have 3 dimensions. And all the scientific people say, well, yes, of course, Mike, because that's logical. Left brain. Now, to left brain people, 3 dimensions really impresses them and makes them feel really smart, because the logical brain is a 2-dimensional processor. It cannot process the 3rd dimension. It can't even see it. Now I've got a video with a Benev where when I woke him up, I took him out to the waterway where we could see like the mountains out in the distance, and he goes, man, he goes, I've lived here almost my whole life, and he goes, it's different. It's like it's earthy. It's like I can feel that mountain all the way over there. He goes, I go, what was it like before? He goes, it was like a painting. I go, okay, what do you mean? Now I knew what he meant, but I wanted him to say it. He goes, it's like, you know how a painting you put on the wall, it's like flat? I go, you mean 2-dimensional? He goes, yeah. I go, what's it not like now? He goes, I can see the trees all the way between me and the mountain and the houses and everything. It's like and he goes, it's like a pop-up book. That's one of those books where you open up and then the houses and the trees and the little people, like they stand up, it pops up. He was finally seeing life in this way. He was finally seeing the 3-dimension that he had been born and raised in, but could never see. He only saw it flat. And you think, well, what was wrong with him? Nothing. That's the way most men and logical people go through life. Everything is this flat, 2-dimensional experience, length and width. Okay, so I found the clip with the Benev. This was this was about 7-8 years ago. This was after we did some consciousness work. We got him to do the internal awareness, the emotional grounding class, the techniques. He finally popped open. Now listen to what he says. Oh, and by the way, we are on no drugs, because he talks about how he feels high as F, but he's talking about just waking up. By the way, a Benev, to my knowledge, has never done any drugs. And please forgive the cussing. This was done a long time. I didn't tell him not to do it. So we're just speaking freely. He's going to use the F-bomb. So this is from a long time ago. So please forgive that, because there's something important to see here. Okay, so I guess talk. So what's it feel like now?
It feels like in the car, it felt like I was on just like a drug.
Doesn't it feel like it like now though? Or what do you mean it's different?
It's a little bit less, but man, in the car it was just like I was on the best drug ever.
Right.
Just way fucking relaxed, way fucking open, just clear as fuck.
Would you say the reason why most people do drugs is because they're trying to get where you're at right now?
Yeah.
Do you understand how people are holding back and how that's keeping them from their happiness?
Yeah, I see that now. Right before we did what we did today, I remember sitting in the car and being kind of uptight, just...
Speak a little bit louder.
I remember feeling the tightness in the car before we went out and did the thing.
Right.
And right after I got in the car, it was just like a world apart, Man, that was pretty good. And right now, we're standing behind a Target.
Describe the difference between, you said before you did it you felt A, and then now you feel what? So describe A first.
It's just, I feel like that's how normal people go through life. You feel tight. You feel
Stressed.
Yeah.
For no reason.
Yeah, you feel just, that's normal life. You just accept it after such a long time. And afterwards, it was just like letting go of the brakes, just boom, And I realized that it is just that easy. You can just do it anytime you want.
Right. So we looked at the mountain over here, or massive hill. I don't know how well my cell phone's picking up. I see it in the view thing. So when I said, now that you look at it, what does it look like now? What did you say?
It feels solid.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I've been living here for about 11 years, and we see the hills every day.
Right.
And they're more of just an image. You see them in the background every day. But now when I look at it today, it's like I'm seeing it for the first time. I can feel its solidity.
Notice how he's beginning to use right brain languaging. So the right brain is about see, hear, feel, smell, and taste, and he used the word feel, solidity, solid. So all we did was shift him to expand open to his right brain, and now he's perceiving the world from a radically different perspective. He's open. I opened him up instead of that two-dimensional way of looking at things and thinking about things.
I think I said to you when you asked me that.
You all right?
It feels like it's made of earth and stone for the first time.
Say that a little bit louder. Just speak louder. Just do it.
Yeah, it feels like it's made of real stuff, real stone and earth.
Yeah, I
for
think
the
you
first
said.
time.
I think you said like real rocks and stones and dirt. Is that what you said?
Yeah. It just looks real. It feels real. So
did you notice how you went from all your life? You've been here. What'd you say? 11 years.
Yeah.
You grew up here, and you never looked at that mountain and really saw how solid and how real it is. So people, what we did with the Benov was we opened him up to his consciousness. We woke him up. There's so many different ways to explain it. So what I said to Benov was, I said it to him a while ago, but now I said, now do you understand what I mean when I walk around and say those people are asleep?
Yeah, I get the picture now.
You feel like you're awake now?
Yeah.
All right.
The colors are way more brighter.
Say that louder. Let him hear it.
The colors are way more brighter. Like, I can smell the fresh air. I can hear the birds. I can, for first time in my life, I think I'm paying attention to my own voice. Yeah, and Mike showed you guys that view right there, and it was a little bit brighter, but man, even right now, it's bright as fuck.
Yeah, you can really see the... So the right brain is the internal brain. Now he is gaining self-awareness. He's literally noticing and feeling his voice for the first time in his life. He's probably consciously hearing and is aware of it. Now, where did I develop this? Where did I put this together? My course for men, Crack the Female Code. Because guys, guess what? The woman's mating system is very attracted to men that are, write this down, self-aware. Ladies say this all the time. I mean, when I was on dating sites, apps and all that stuff in the past, how many times have I seen a woman write down or even say, I'm looking for a man who has self-awareness? I mean, you hear it all the time. Another way a woman says that is someone who is in tune with themselves, someone who is in tune. In tune literally means 5 senses, right brain, internal awareness. So just so you know, yes, I teach this in my Crack the Female Code course for men. It's a 5-day conditioning course. I also teach it in one-on-one coaching if you're interested in doing it just that way too. Now, ladies, men need to hear you say this, so type this in the comments section. Yes, we're looking for men who have self-awareness, men that are in tune with themselves, okay? Because if I say it, they're not going to believe me because, well, I'm just another guy. Believe it or not, but that's the way all my clients will believe, is when a woman says, yeah, he's right, we don't like oblivious men. We want men that are self-aware. This is a man that's awake. He's conscious. He knows what's going on. Now here's the weird thing. When you have self-awareness, now you finally have others' awareness. If you are not aware of yourself, you're not feeling the vibe you're getting from people. Somebody could say something in a certain way, and if you can't feel it with your body, because those are vibrations that are bouncing off your molecules on, in, and around your body. If you can't feel that, so if you are two-dimensional and you don't have self-awareness, or you have self-obliviousness, now you have others' obliviousness. And this is where women get really upset when she's telling you, she's talking to you, and it goes right over your head. You don't understand, you're not connected to yourself. It's like your own radar system. You have to connect to your radar system and notice what's pinging off the radar system, what's pinging off the outside of the submarine, etc. So, okay, I can feel it's coming from the right about a mile away. So you can really see the colors and the hues and the different. Now do you understand?
Yeah.
See, I've been saying this to him for a long time. So, oh, yeah, okay. And I could tell because he goes into his ego. Oh, okay, okay. But I was like, yeah, he doesn't get it yet. But he will. You get it now, don't you?
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to say about life or about this experience, about anything we've done?
You can change your life right now, this second. You know, I was kind of waiting for the right time, but you just do it.
Yes.
Just fucking do it.
That's what I actually got mad at him a couple of days ago and said, what in the fuck are you waiting for? And I knew the technique we did today he had to do to finally step into his power. Would you recommend people hiring me?
Hell yes. If you want to live the life you always dreamt of living and then some, give Mike a call.
So, by the way, Benev's life changed drastically after that. He quit his job, he got a better job, started making more money, and then 6 months later he quit that job, got a better job. He got his own place, he was saving up money to buy a car, and then he ended up going to India, spent a month there getting certified in yoga. He wanted to come back and start a yoga business. So he just, boom, like everything from that point forward, boom, 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 I mean, literally fell into place. Before that, he was stuck for years. And one of the videos we did in the past, before this one, was how he goes, my younger sister, she's in Europe. She's traveling in Europe. She's on a college program. She's doing this and doing that. She's in her 3rd year of college, about to get her bachelor's degree. He goes, and I'm just, I think he was working at Domino's Pizza at the time, just flipping pizzas, literally. All right, so let's get back to what I was talking about, atoms, electrons, and molecules. So now we had a really good example of a real live human being shifting from his left brain to his right brain, going, whoa, wait a minute. Everything is different. That view that we were looking at, he has seen every single day of his entire life when he walked out of his front door. And I just realized there's another video that I would have to find, but in the other video, that's where he says, he goes, it's like, he's like, everything was like a pop-up, like the trees, I could see them going up from the ground, whereas before it was like this flat image, like a painting. He goes, now I realize like there's depth in between, like between me and that tree, and then from the next tree and to the mountain to the left or right. Now he's starting to see things in depth, which is the right brain. And yes, this is why women love in-depth conversations. Because not only do the right brain function processes depth, perception, etc., visually, auditory, kinesthetically, etc., it's also done within communication. Now this kind of applies, not kind of exactly, I'm hinting around to the molecules, and all of a sudden, wait a minute, so the sun and the earth and the planets and our moons, that's the same thing. Yeah, it's just on a different level. So I'm going to get to that in a little bit more. So for now, guys, if you want to learn more about this whole in-depth thing that I'm talking about, right brain, internal, all that stuff that triggers a female's mating system, buy my book, Cracked Female Code. So let's take a look at the brain. I mean, it's all right here. I am the left brain. Logic, 011001011. Accurate. It's analytical. And as you go down lower, it talks about reason, practical, numbers, strategic, control. Which, when you're very left brain, you're very controlling, like a narcissist. I am the right brain. It's about love. It's about emotions. It's about feelings. It's about freedom. It's about passion. It's about creativity. Now, it's kind of interesting it says freedom, because the right brain is all about freedom. There's a way to attract women by being emotionally grounded, because now you're giving her all her freedom. Free to approach, free to walk away. And that allows a woman to want to be with you, because men don't do that. Men are very controlling. The right brain's about music, creativity. It's about fine wine. It's about like food that just tastes wonderful, that makes you feel better versus making you, oh, I feel so bad. It's about making life meaningful and worthwhile. So here was a real life example of a young man going through life very left brain, not even knowing that he was left brain. See, a lot of men, well, this is just what we are. I mean, but we don't know it. But when you pop over to the right brain, then you're like, whoa, this is totally different. Now you can look back from this perspective over at your left logical way of being, like, wow, I totally see the limitations in that. So until you open up to the other side, you don't see the limitations of being stuck in the left brain. So left brain people want to convince you, no, it can't be both. It can't be both molecules, atoms, and electrons, and the Earth and the Sun and the Moon and space, and 99% in the molecules, 99% in the Earth, in actual space, our solar system, our universe. Wait a minute, this is the same. No, it can either be either or. No, it can be both. There's a bigger picture I'm about to tell you that's going to shock you. Now, before I get into that, though, here's something that a lot of you may not understand. So for a long time, scientists were like, so if it's 99.999% pure space between atoms and electrons and molecules, just like the Earth from the Sun is like, 90 million miles or whatever it was, and the Moon's 238,000 something miles away, that's just pure space. So how come we don't fall through the chair? Because that's atoms and molecules that are 99.999% pure space. How come the table isn't falling apart? Why aren't the molecules just falling to the ground? Like what is holding everything together? Now there is a theory, and it is a theory. It's called string theory. Now I'm not going to get into that right now, but remember in the movies, I think it's The Matrix, where he like went through the wall. Well, that's kind of the point. Scientists are like, we don't really understand why we can't walk through the walls. And I'm going to give you a suggestion. It's your belief, because that's what you were taught. When I finally understood that 99.999% pure space, and then I started understanding about energy and all that stuff, but it was that 99.999% pure space, that's when I started to realize, oh, wait a minute. We can heal people. We heal people with our thoughts. So all of a sudden, all the energy healing techniques began to work. Everything, because it's like suddenly, like I understood it. Like, oh, I get it. These are just molecules and atoms that we're moving around. That's all we're doing. Here's the really, really cool thing. Beliefs are absolutely powerful. Whatever you believe, you literally create. Now here's the absolute bizarre thing about beliefs. They're not real. They're absolutely powerful, meaning they do create. But beliefs in themselves, they're not real at all. So you get to pick and choose whatever you want to believe, and thus create your life. Sorry, but Santa Claus isn't real unless you believe he is. Then all of a sudden you get Christmas presents under your Christmas tree, if you truly believe it. So you let the either or people divide you from other people simply because they came from a different country, they wear different clothes, they go to a different church, they have a different religion. I'm telling you, they are all teaching the same teaching. So here I am in Hawaii, and they're teaching us the basics of Huna, and it talks about the manna that comes from the heavens. And I was like, wait a minute, I literally raised my hand. I go, that sounds exactly what it says in the Bible, in the Old Testament, about how man does not live on bread and water alone. He lives on the manna from God, from the heavens above. And Dr. Chad James goes, yeah. I go, that's the same thing. He goes, yes. And in Buddhism, Buddha talks about looking within. I go, wait a minute, Jesus used to say that. And they're like, yeah, he's one of our top 5 greatest teachers. Greatest of all time. He's the Michael Jordan of Buddhism. Alright, here's my point. I am not telling you to go become Buddhist. That is not what I'm saying. I'm not telling you to change your beliefs. I'm trying to just simply get you to start seeing things and go, wait a minute, that's taught in that religion too? Yes, it's the same teachings. Now, here's another thing I've learned from, it was a Seventh-day Adventist church. It was when I was in Hawaii. It was when I was studying Buddhism. There is essentially, I can't remember the actual, I think it was 5 basic core teaching. It's in every single religion or spiritual teaching. It's one of them is love, another one is forgiveness, another one is faith, and I think another one was compassion, and I don't remember what the other one was. Maybe it was understanding. But it's like, wait a minute, these are the same. And when I was learning, I was like, well, that's what we teach in Christianity. And they're like, well, yeah, it's the core basic concepts of every religion. So there comes this book that comes along. It's called The Chariots of the Gods, okay? And it's trying to debunk the Bible, but it's not debunking the Bible. It's proving the Bible. Because it talks about like the chariots, a fire that went rolling. It looked like it had eyes. Well, what does a car look like? The lights look like the lights look like eyes, okay? So then it basically describes rockets and jets and, spaceships taking off with this big fiery thing and this, this whole thing, if you read that book. And a lot of people think, well, this is going to disprove the Bible. No, it doesn't disprove the Bible. It's just saying, hey, this might be something different. And then when you go read the book of Ezekiel, you're like, oh, wait a minute, it actually does use these terms in this book in the Bible. So here's why I believe in God. It's because of the energy healing. It's because of, do you guys remember months and months back when I made this video like, hey, I had this really vivid dream, and usually vivid dreams are a prophecy. It's trying to tell me something. I said it was about a bridge, a big bridge that collapsed, and because I'm close to the Golden Gate Bridge, my mind symbolized the Golden Gate Bridge, and I said I was up on top, it collapsed, but the water was a certain way, and this and this and that, and I don't know if it was the very next day, or it might have been 2 days later, that bridge collapsed in, I forget, was it Missouri, or where was it, but it was in another state. It was a big thing, and it was national news, and a lot of people believe that it was done on purpose. So that's why I believe that there is something else going on. No alien came to me, or no spaceman came from another planet and 2 solar systems over and landed in a jet plane or something like that. No. I believe because I've healed people with energy healing. I've done all these different consciousness things. I'll be aware of something. I'll put it out on my Facebook page and my YouTube, and boom, it comes true. So that's why I'm going, there is something going on. So people that are of the either or mentality goes, see, now that proves that the Bible isn't real and it's all made up. No, actually it proves it's true, because it's literally saying exactly what it was saying in the book of Ezekiel. So then there was another one that came out, I don't know, remember the 90s, whatever, but someone put it in my hands, probably early 2000s, but it was a movie called Zeitgeist. And it's talking about the planets and the stars, and it says, see, this is the morning star, this is the overcomer, and it's when the sun goes up and goes down, or this morning star starts here, but then it goes over here, etc., etc. Well, this is all symbolic. Everything is symbolic of everything, just like the molecules, atoms, and electrons are symbolic of the Earth, the planets, the moons, the solar system, the universe, and on and on and on. It doesn't suddenly mean oh, the Earth and the universe are not real, only molecules and atoms are real. That is such a dumb mentality to sit there, well, it's either or, it can't be both. Why can't it be both? Because like Abenev used to be a very left-brain being, that's the way he looked at it. It's either A or it's B. It's that rectangle with the line in the middle. You got either box A, square A on the left, or square B on the right. Well, you can't have both. Why not? Who said, where the hell did this law come from? It's all in your head. It's a false illusion. It's a false, very limited way of processing information. See, I don't mind if you're in that either or mentality when you're looking at things on a detail level, but then you got to learn how to come out of it to see the abstractness. Now let's put the pieces together. People that are very left brain, they never put the pieces together. They say, no, I got one piece of the puzzle and this is the puzzle. This is the whole puzzle. Therefore, everything else is a sinner. You're going to hell. It's not. No, dude. You're supposed to connect the pieces. Left brain people don't do that. So they're going to do everything in their power to say, oh, well, see this over here. This means this over here isn't real. It's either I'm right or you're wrong. Either A's right or B's wrong. They can't both be right. They can't both be wrong. One of them's got to be right and one of them's got to be wrong. No, that's absolutely not true. My entire purpose is to free you from the limited mind. To free, see, don't you feel like you're trapped? Don't you feel like you're stuck? You're stuck in fear. See, the fear keeps you stuck in the left brain. When you let go of the fear, you open up to the options and possibilities brain. And this is why being very peaceful and loving and compassionate and understanding, and you just in forgiving and letting go, that opens the door to the right brain. Now, I haven't seen the Zeitgeist video in a long time, but essentially it says, well, this is like the story of the stars in astronomy or astrology. I think it's astronomy actually. The actual moons and suns and planets, etc., and the way they move. It says the basic same story. I think it's the 12 months, maybe even Christmas, the celebration, but they used a different word back then, etc. It doesn't matter. Jesus Christ came in the flesh. He actually lived. He actually did these miracles. And guess what? So did Buddha. That doesn't mean you're going to hell because you learned that. If you've actually read your Bible, you would notice that Jesus taught his disciples how to do healing, energy healing work. He said, now go in pairs and do unto others, meaning teach your energy healing abilities and techniques unto others so they can spread the word and they can begin to heal other people as well. Do you really think God's saying, no, we only want one healer on the earth to heal one person at a time? Bro, there's like 8 billion people on the planet. That's going to take forever. Now here's another thing about very left brain people. Not only do they limit you, the reason why they don't allow themselves to believe anything outside of box A is because they literally psychologically, emotionally, mentally cannot handle it. It will, man, if they had to believe in something that was outside of their box, even if it was proven by scientists, they would literally have a meltdown. They'd be what do they call a nervous breakdown. They can't emotionally handle it, literally. This is why they'll have panic attacks. They'll have tantrums, they'll yell, they'll scream, no, it can't be that, no. It's like, because everything has to be finite. It's got to be in this tiny little square, this little box, and that's life. Don't change it, don't touch it, don't open the door. And you know that word possibility? Oh no, don't use that word around them because they will lose it. So here's the really funny thing about a lot of this. We talk about different dimensions. Where do you think I learned that? In a spiritual teaching? The Bible? No. Buddhism? No. Energy healing? No. I learned it in math class. Many times actually, many different math classes. And then later on in college, I learned it in science and physics. And very left brain people are going to convince you, no, this has nothing to do with spirituality. It only has to do with science. See, what they're saying is, I want you to look at it through the left brain processor, and that's it. Don't open up to the right brain. Don't see the bigger picture, such as the earth, the moon, the sun, the 99% space, the solar system, the universe, etc. They don't want you to see that bigger picture. They just only want you to see it from the left brain, from the very narrow, very small processor. What I'm saying is I want you to be able to see it from both perspectives, from the left brain, from the right brain, from the whole brain, and then from the expanded mind. Your mind actually expands out around your body, about 18 inches or so above you, front, left, right, all the way around, all the way down to the ground. Your brain is what's inside your skull. Your mind is what is the energy that expands around you. So I'm going to wrap this up because I'm getting tired, to be honest with you. I'm trying to explain a really big, vague, and abstract picture. So you have these videos on YouTube, like what zodiac sign, blah, blah, blah. It talks about the signs in the skies, like you've got, you know, Aries, and you got Orion, and you got all this stuff, and you got that one where he's shooting a bow and arrow, and I think that's Orion, I think. And so what happens is, like, one of them is where it's saying in the Bible, it's crushing the your, not evil, not the demon, your enemy's head, right? So when you look at that, you're like, well, wait a minute, it looks like his foot is on the head of the rabbit, so the rabbit would symbolize the enemy. This is actually in the stars, okay? Like right here, this lady says the 12 disciples are the 12 zodiac signs, and Jesus the 13th or the 7th, blah, blah, blah. Now, you might read that and go, well, wait. See, they even put up Revelation 22:2 right here. So they pull different pieces of the Bible in here. Now, you might be going, oh, no, Michael, that's wrong. That's wrong. No, what I'm saying is, a lot of people will think like, oh, so that just proves that the Bible's not real. Jesus isn't real. But all of a sudden, we're supposed to believe it. But these symbols in the sky, they're real, but this is not, because it's an either or. No. It's an and both, plus and more. It's left and right. It's like math. You know, you could sit there and say, oh, well, the only way to teach math is the way they teach it in America. Well, Japan and I believe China teach math radically different than we teach it here, and yet their students are really, really good at math. To sit there and demonize something because it's they wear different clothes, they have different skin color, oh, they're on a different continent than us, and therefore they're wrong. Oh, you know, their facial structure, the bone structure, they look different, Mike. Oh, their teachings are weird. That's not the way we do it. And by doing that, you limit yourself. I've always wanted to learn from other cultures. The military, believe it or not, is all about, well, we need to learn how the hell they're doing that so we can do it too. You don't want to limit yourself or you're going to lose. Why do you think the world is in the place that it's in right now? Because all of us were taught either or. They're different, they're weird, don't listen to them. No, I'm saying open up. You need to learn from people that are different from you. It'll strengthen you. It'll help you see things from a different perspective, and that is the whole purpose of life. You see a more fuller, wholer, complete body of information versus just seeing this small little sliver, literally with blinders on, because the left brain is all about putting blinders on and only seeing what's right in front of you, just like you're looking down a microscope. You're literally only seeing the microscopic view of life. There's a video I'm looking for. I saved it, but I cannot find it. But it was done really well by this young man about this whole astrology thing, the stars, the constellations, and how there's 12 constellations and how this applies to the Bible. It was a really good, and I mentioned it earlier, probably 2 or 3 months ago, but I can't find it right now. So don't think that just because you see something similar or the exact same teaching taught somewhere else that suddenly it means that yours is wrong or discounted or you have to demonize them. No, they're wrong. That doesn't mean that. It means the teaching is in more than one place. If anything, that actually confirms it. It doesn't deny it. It doesn't dispel it. Alright guys, I'm out of here. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. I've got to go to sleep. God bless you guys. Thank you for listening to this video. I hope this video has enlightened you, opened you up a little bit to the possibilities of what else is out there, because that's where you're going to find your freedom. If you like this video, please click subscribe, click the like button, go ahead and make a comment, and if you want, you can go ahead and make a donation. There's a PayPal link right there in the description box. God bless you guys. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.